when we talk about multitasking, there's this expectation that our brains can just juggle everything perfectly. Like a professional with 5 balls in the air.
Right. It looks completely seamless when they do it.
Exactly. But you sit at a desk and try to look at, say, 3 different screens at once. You've
Mhm.
got your laptop, your phone, the TV on the wall, and suddenly the cognitive overload is very real. You start dropping the balls.
Yeah, and our hardware usually makes that fragmentation worse, honestly. We're forced to constantly context switch between devices. But today's deep dive is about a physical solution to that. HDTV Supply actually built a way to force all that digital chaos into a single, organized feed.
Right, we're looking at their product page for the WolfPack 4K 30 Hz 8x1 multi-viewer, which is quite a name.
It is a mouthful. But HDTV Supply has been in the AV gear space for 25 years. And this specific device is engineered to take 8 separate HDMI inputs. So that's computers, media players, security cameras, whatever. And it funnels them all into exactly one 4K HDMI output.
It's basically an air traffic controller for your living room or, your office.
That is a great way to put it.
Because you've got 8 different flight paths coming in fast, and this box has to land them all safely on one screen without crashing.
And without the holding pattern. Instead of planes circling the runway waiting for clearance, the WolfPack pre-negotiates the digital handshake with every connected device.
Oh, wait, are you talking about that annoying black screen you usually get when you switch monitor inputs?
Exactly. That black screen is the lag of negotiation. But here, the planes land instantly. It's a feature they call seamless switching. The device is like constantly maintaining the connection data in the background.
So you just bypass the lag entirely.
Yeah, the moment you push a button, the new feed is just there.
Wow. And you aren't just toggling through them one at a time either. You can view all 8 feeds simultaneously. The source page details 10 distinct layout modes.
Right. They have PIP, which is picture-in-picture, and POP.
And POP is picture outside picture, right?
Yeah. Because, with PIP, the smaller screens physically block part of your main video feed. But POP lets you build a clean side-by-side grid. Everything gets its own dedicated space on that 4K display.
But looking at an 8-feed setup, my immediate concern is the audio. I mean, if you have up to 8 distinct video feeds playing at once, wouldn't you just get a chaotic wall of noise, like standing in the middle of a crowded sports bar?
Yeah, and if you hear everything, you process nothing. But the engineers avoided that. The audio is actually embedded, and it switches synchronously with whichever video feed you actively select.
Okay, so you might see all 8 feeds in your grid, but you only hear the one you're focusing on.
Exactly. The device filters the noise, so you only get the audio track of that specific feed. It really keeps the cognitive load manageable. Plus, they structure the physical deployment to reduce visual clutter, too.
Which is huge because 8 HDMI cables sounds like a messy nightmare.
Right. But the unit supports high-speed HDMI cables up to 15 meters long for both input and output. So you can literally hide the actual hardware and all its messy wiring in a completely different room or a closet.
And then you just control the whole layout remotely.
Yeah, via an IR remote or just the front panel buttons if you're near it.
See, usually when I hear things like seamless 4K switching and 8 simultaneous HDMI inputs, I'm expecting some multi-thousand-dollar piece of broadcasting gear.
I know, it sounds like studio-level tech.
It really does. But this unit is sitting at $249.95. It feels like this professional-grade video aggregation has finally dropped to consumer prices.
It absolutely makes it accessible for home offices or even just casual entertainment setups. But the real test for any AV gear is whether you have to constantly think about it or troubleshoot it.
Which brings us to the reviews. There's a verified review from a user, Eric19720, and he just wrote that it works as expected and is a great value.
Which is the best kind of review.
Honestly, yeah. In the hardware world, a boring review is exactly what you want. No troubleshooting, just an invisible facilitator doing its job quietly.
It operates as a command center for HDMI chaos. It takes all those fragmented pieces of our digital attention and just puts them back into a single, structured frame.
So, leaving you with this thought to mull over today, if you suddenly had the power to seamlessly stitch 8 different real-time video feeds into a single 4K display in your own home or office, what specific combination of feeds would actually make you the most productive or, the most entertained? Would you finally be the master juggler of your digital life? Or would having all those balls in the air at once just make you drop them faster?